Welcome to my first impressions on Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. If you are a long-term fan of the series like me, I don't think you actually need anybody to tell you how amazing the game is. However, if you want to hear it, I am here to just do that, pretty much. And to be transparent, when I say long-term fan of the series, I mean that I played through Armored Core 2, 3, 4, 4 Answer, and a bit of 5. And you may even think, if you are not aware about how the series is structured, that those might be the most of the games that are out there. And that couldn't be further from the truth. This is something that I only learned about myself a while ago. I thought those were most of the titles, but there is a lot more in between. I think there are like 15 older titles out there. It's a bit like with the GTA series, where between GTA 3 and 4, there's Vice City, San Andreas, Liberty City Stories, and Vice City Stories to play. So yeah, it's a bit like that, only a lot more niche and therefore easier to miss a few of them. Also, I think they have all gone up in price recently due to the announcement of this wonderful game. So yeah, my main game for most time has been Armored Core 4 Answer. Recently also got Armored Core 4 because yeah, I learned that it actually exists. Didn't vibe too much with 5, but when it comes to the PS2 era games, so 2 and 3, I like them for their own merits. They are very different but also amazing in their own right. But I'll be mainly comparing this to Armored Core 4, and for me it absolutely makes me feel right at home. However, it is quite a bit slower than Armored Core 4, which is likely a good thing, because that game, or those two games were Armored Core 4 and 4 Answer, they were pretty insane on the speed. And this one feels a bit more heavy, but also the impact and all that, it's pretty amazing. So yeah, overall, that comes to flying around and just moving in general, there is a lot more restriction in terms of the energy that you can use. I'll just talk over this, otherwise we won't get very far. So there's some energy limit, and some generators even don't recharge at all if you are still, or if you only take a short break from using energy. So you can't just feather flying around and recharge in between. You're likely gonna need like a second or so, so you're most likely back on the ground before the entire thing starts recharging. But the generator delay depends on the generator that you're using. And I got the impression that later down the line stuff may be a lot more powerful. I'm still in chapter 1. When it comes to the graphics, I heard some people describing them as a bit lacking, or at least not like absolutely amazing. And when you look back at older games, they have always been a bit weak. So even for the time, not all the detail compared to other titles or anything like that. It's kinda... yeah, it's how the series has been. But I think the scale of everything, the huge explosions and all that makes way up for that, and it's kinda... this game in particular, it is getting pretty beautiful at times. But the environments, not like sprawling forests and everything. It's a lot what you can see right here from the style. But of course there are different environments, which is another huge thing that you can get by having mission-based gameplay, and not like a connected world where everything has to kind of blend together and move from one biome over into the next one organically. You can just have a mission that's in the middle of a city, in this industrial complex, and then go straight into an ocean base or something like that. But yeah, and I'm absolutely glad that they kept the mission-based design, otherwise I don't think this game would have worked at all. Because overall the series has always been mission-based, and I think that's one of its biggest strengths, because you can always then build your AC just to do that one thing in that one mission and then move on to the next one, maybe use something completely different, where otherwise you would likely need some sort of generalist build for just surviving in the wilds or something. So yeah, when it comes to gameplay additions, one of the early ones that we are going to see in a moment is that there's actually different fire modes now for some of the weapons. So some of them you need to hold to charge up in order to get a powered up shot. The missiles, when you hold the firing button for those, you can actually get some multi-missiles going. By just holding the stuff, marking down multiple targets, and then the missiles are gonna split up into multiple groups and attack each one individually. We're gonna see that in a moment. And yeah, I just completely fell down because my generator didn't recharge early enough. So I'm just gonna mark all of these, and then you can see the missile just hitting all different targets, and let's just shoot down the last one. Still not dead, so I need a few more bullets. And then when it comes to the movement, as you can see here, the mech can actually move around quite a bit with a quick boost, but the energy bar, it depletes very quickly and then needs a moment to recharge, so it's a bit more limited than with the other game, but I feel like the gameplay overall has been tightened up a lot. It has a few inspirations from Dark Souls in terms of how tight some of the boss fights are, and we are going to see one towards the end of this video, which I don't know if I can even finish, but we'll get there. In terms of gameplay additions, we now have repair kits, as you can see in the bottom left. If I press a button, I get some of my AP back, which is of course the armor points. And I got 3 repair kits for each of the missions. So that works out pretty well. I don't necessarily get why they didn't go with just making everything a bit more sturdy. And then now we get the explanation on the repair kits. There's also checkpoints and resupplies now, so resupplies are not the newest thing, but there's now also checkpoints, so if I die now I can likely just end up restarting over here. I haven't gotten a checkpoint yet, but I think I'll be getting one once I finish this part over here. The thing about the checkpoints is if you die after one, you respawn back at the checkpoint with full health, full ammo, full everything. So if you can barely make it to a checkpoint and then just die right after, you will be coming back with in a lot better state.
Time to fly, 621.
And I don't think this game would have worked too well any other way. Some of the missions could really be split into 3 from just how much you have to do.
We'll make a killing. Plenty for a merc with a fried brain like you to buy their life back.
But yeah, this is kinda how you have to do it sometimes.
Back to work.
Let's see this in the boss fight at the end.
AC-Rex ahead and find a valid mercenary license. We're illegals here. You'll need ID to operate.
Also, there is a new mechanic. That's the stun meter that you can see above my energy bar. When I'm getting shot at, that slowly fills up, and if it completely fills up, I lose control over the mech for a moment. And I wait for my energy sword to just recharge, or cool down, it overheats after use. And let's shoot this guy down. So, if you look at the rectangle in the middle, there are those 4 quarter circles. The inner ones are for the back weapons, just how long they need to recharge. and the outer ones are for my main weapons. So if I shoot with my main gun, you can see the bar going down, and that's due to the magazine emptying. And for the energy sword, it turns red and needs to cool down, and once the red part is gone, I can now use it again. Overall, the interface is pretty simple, but I think it's really well designed when it's not overloading anything but giving you all the necessary information in a very concise way. And I had a few games recently that really just overloaded the screen with information, and it was quite distracting. I like how functional they made this one.
Picking up signals from AC Rex.
So let's see.
Follow the markers.
The thing about the stun meter that I noticed, and you may see that at the boss fight in the end, it can actually end up with you being stuck in the air, where you boost upwards, get stunned, and then you're just stuck mid-air and you don't even fall down, which is a bit weird. When it comes to the weapons having multiple functions, like the sword having a second attack, some weapons being charged up, and the multi-lock on the missiles, it's quite cool, but it also has kind of a big downside in terms of how you want to map out the controls. By standard, you have the two triggers for the two main weapons and the two shoulder buttons for the shoulder weapons. Checks out. That leaves you at a bit of a disadvantage when it comes to the boost.
Looks like they've got shields. Good thing you've
And
got a blade.
it's not like it used to be, where you had two buttons to switch between your arm weapon and the shoulder weapon on each of the sides. It's now that you can just fire each of the weapons independently and theoretically even at the same time.
Extract the pilot data. I'll analyze it from my end.
That's one of the challenges that I'm not too sure about, because again, you need to be
This one's already expired.
you need to have all the buttons in a way that you can access them pretty well, which, while putting some of it onto the shape button or X, Y, A, B for Xbox controllers, it's a bit tough because you need to let go of the right stick to use them. So yeah, I ended up remapping some of this stuff because I like having my boost on the shoulder buttons, so I can be a bit more agile. But yeah, when having the weapon buttons on the other buttons as other weapon functions, it's a bit weird.
Did you hear anything about what the
I kinda like the tactical aspect of having to switch through the weapons, but I get for what they are going for with this game, it may have not worked. There's another one. So yeah, that whole control scheme is something that I'm not completely sure about. Thankfully I have a few extra buttons, so I'm actually having two buttons on the other side of my controller, and that's where I use the shoulder weapons with. Otherwise, it would be tough. And again, you need to press some of the buttons for longer occasionally if you want to do something like multi-lock attack or whatever. Ah, got him. And the overall is pretty fluid, it's pretty responsive and all that. So, nice. I still have to get another laser sword. It's kinda the only bag that I have right now, and I only have one of them.
unidentified AC? Is that a corpse scout?
So I'm a bit restricted with how I can do some of the stuff here.
Deal with them, 621.
Let's use a multi-lock attack on this. Nice. And yeah, it just feels so satisfying playing through some of the stuff with how they did the whole multi-lock thing, and just everything. The thing about the missions though is that they are a lot harder on average. So for some of the stuff you cannot go in with anything that you want to build, you need to make your build exploit the weaknesses of the main enemies or something.
Wait, is that an independent?
I had that with a boss fight where I ended up changing my build, and
Use your missiles.
it turned out that I found a weakness on an enemy that made everything a lot easier. For some reason I couldn't do multi-lock on that even though I was holding the button. Or was it not recharged? Okay, gonna go back up there and start attack.
Analyzing.
Okay, we talked about the controller config and everything. So
It's still valid, but the pilot's rank is no good.
overall,
Use this.
boss fights and all that, they have gotten quite a bit harder, and we are about to encounter the first boss in a moment. Took me about an hour to get through them, and it's kinda... I think I may have used the wrong tactic. From what I've seen, it's a lot more effective to go in aggressively. So,
Get out of there. You can handle them.
yeah, don't wanna deal with that thing.
PCA's planetside force. Keep a low profile. We don't want them breathing down our necks.
Okay, on to the last guy. The missions overall, they are pretty good, but there's still a few of those things that you may have seen in other
Rec 61.
armored cores that are a bit weird. There are sometimes very restrictive barriers in place, so the level boundaries don't allow you to go as far out as you would love to. And you will see that in a moment as well. With the boss, there is a tactic to just rush him and go in with a sword. And sometimes the boss just goes outside the boundary box, so you can't even follow him, and that's a bit not amazing. And also in some cases, and that's really just a nitpick, sometimes you finish a mission by just going for one main target and there's still other guys around. Sometimes you are even followed by another AC that tries to kill you, but you got through the main objective, so mission finished and it's over. And it's kinda... you are stuck questioning on how you even got out of the situation there.
Catapult to get some altitude.
It's been much more of a factor with older games, but with this one it's still somewhat present.
That's it. Try accessing the wreck.
I also can't talk too much about the build variety in this game because, well, I still don't have too much unlocked yet, so a bit limited on what I can do yet. But again, I have a feeling that a lot more stuff will be coming once I get further in the game. But just from what you are going to see in a moment, you are
Registration number R.
likely going to wonder if this is the first bot in the first mission.
Call sign.
How does it bode for the rest of the game?
Looks like they were onto you after
And yeah, I was just at the very edge of
no room to pick a
the
fight
combat
with
zone
PCA.
there.
But it doesn't matter. Take it out now.
So,
they won't have enough to ID
one
you.
tactic is to just try and hide out here, which I used to finish the entire boss the first time. There's a bit of a safe zone below him. It's kind of tough to get to, and yeah, he's also gonna try to avoid you being there for too long. And while the best attack is the blade and everything else, that's really
50%.
just minor damage.
1 repair kit remaining.
It's kinda... it feels like suicide, but apparently you are supposed to be aggressive here. So I've seen people just run towards the guy, slash him down,
Use your
and
mobility in
yeah, get a lot done that way and do it very quick, but I've so far had my fair share of struggle. Even though once you get in, once you do the melee damage, it actually does a lot compared to the other weapons that you have.
No repair kits remaining.
But I also came in here slightly damaged already. Yeah, can't even make it up there. Yeah, hiding out behind the buildings is a tactic. It can work, but it is very slow and no guaranteed win either. Because you have to do it for quite a while and every single little mistake is punished severely. Oof, something like that. But I'm trying to do this by being aggressive. The limitation on how much you can fly and everything,
50%.
it really bogs you down. Yeah, I think that's outside the level boundaries again, so not going there.
AP at 30%.
Yeah, that was not the smartest move. Okay, going in for the slash again. I don't know if I'm doing it the best I can. I'm definitely neglecting using the other weapons that I have. And there we go again, outside the boundary boss, so no following. And I'm pretty much dead anyways. Just trying to get into cover. And that's it. At least it's a nice colorful explosion. I'll be trying this again. Now we can actually see the checkpoints working. The thing I will absolutely give it credit for though,
That's it.
I was stuck
Try
at this
accessing the
for about an hour, at least. And despite that, and this even being the first mission, it didn't really feel punishing or anything like that.
Rank fits the
Given that I was still figuring out the control scheme for everything,
looks like they were on
that was a bit late.
in no mood to pick a fight with the PCA. But it doesn't matter. Take it out now and they won't have enough to ID you.
Come on, getting close. Nope, not getting there. It's likely outside the level boundaries again. Okay, now. Don't know if that was actually a hit, but I tried. Let's try to get back behind cover. I'm trying to avoid those
Mobility in the air
force
to get clear
attacks.
of explosions on the ground.
There's a bit of telling on what it's gonna do when. No, was running out of energy. And yeah, that's when the attack finished there. You saw how I was kinda just stuck mid-air. That's a weird thing that sometimes happens. Yeah. And for me at least, it's sometimes a bit tough keeping track of everything. Just constantly moving around, using every single weapon to its maximum is a bit of a tough ask for me. Maybe I'm just getting old.
AP at 50%.
Ouch. Repair kits. But this technique is kinda working. Okay, get up there. Get in there. Missed the second attack. You can also stun the guy, but it's really difficult. Okay, that looks good, and that was a decent hit. This is actually a far better tactic than what I had.
50%.
Just making sure that I'm staying at decent health. Where is the guy? Oh, there. Okay, coming in from this side now. He's moving over. And sometimes he just seems to be a bit forgetful for what I'm doing. You just saw how I was stuck mid-air again.
50%.
It feels a bit weird, but... And some of the missiles really, they go way out and can get behind the cover. I think I just shot the building ultimately.
At 30%.
Okay, come on, just one more good hit. Can I make it? I need a bit more. Don't get too cocky. Okay, he's really going ham now. Come on, just a few more missiles. Woo! Okay, didn't expect that to happen in this video, but I'm glad I got this on record because yeah, this can usually take a while.
Heavy combat helicopter is down.
Again, this is
That's
still
all
the
for our
first
work here
mission.
today, 621.
They're
Here's
not
the call
always
sign from
tough.
that license you picked up.
We are now called Raven. Nice throwback to
Raven.
road games.
That's your new name here on Rubicon.
So that actually used to be the term for AC pilots doing anything Armored Core 2 and 3. Later down the line it was Lynx, and I don't know what it was doing Armored Core 5. But yeah, that's for old pilot terms. And I know it's just a name, but then again it's the name for everybody actually playing the game, so that's pretty cool. One little thing that I want to also get into, besides that there's really not too much different in terms of how everything is assembled, although one major thing, we don't have the actual shoulder weapons anymore, or what was it? Yeah, shoulder weapons. These are all back weapons here, but there used to be another slot for a pair of shoulder assist weapons. Those are gone. But now we have expansion that we can buy and then get some additional functionality. Like in this case I have assault armor. Those who have played for will also know that. And some additional stuff can be bought over here with additional functions and that kind of stuff. This is the only thing where you actually may want to even restart the game at some point. If you figured that you got something that you actually don't want, there may be some better or worse options in here. And with assault armor only being usable once per battle, I don't know if I made the right choice, and for now I cannot get any more of the currency that I need to do this. You unlock this stuff by doing arena battles, and the battles that I have available right now are a bit limited. Also, there's a lot more tabs here. Oh my god, this is even more than I thought. And yeah, when it comes to the images that you can make, still it's pretty much like the olden days where you have a few templates available and then you can just go through this stuff and assemble something by mixing these things in. So not too much changed. I'm kind of missing the enemy eyes here. It's had to do some myself for this thing. But yeah, that's the main thing. The image editor, the whole control scheme it's a bit messy, I gotta say. But besides that, it allows you to do some pretty interesting stuff. And there's not the white border around the items anymore as it used to be. But yeah, that's really all that I can tell you guys about in this video. Glad we got through the actual first mission. It's quite a tough one, but again, it doesn't feel unfair, and I think they took a lot of boss design cues from the Souls games. It makes the game overall look tougher, but it's still very enjoyable, and it feels really good once you actually get through some battles and finish them. So yeah, that's gonna be it for me. Thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed. See you next time. Bye bye.